This is a load management dialogue presented by PLMA. Here you'll discover practitioner perspectives regarding flexible energy load management, including demand response and distributed energy resources. If you are listening to this via the GoToWebinar application, you may type in your questions and comments during the broadcast. And now, let me turn the conversation over to Michael Smith with Baltimore Gas and Electric. He is a PLMA Award Group co-chair. Take it away, Michael.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of PLMA's Load Management Dialogue Series. Today, we'll be joined by one of our PLMA award winners, CPS Energy, to learn more about their award-winning project. Justin and Julie, would you mind introducing yourselves for our listeners?
Sure, Michael, thank you. Let me first start off by saying thank you to PLMA for this award. We really appreciate it. Our team put in a lot of hard work to be able to accomplish this project, and we really appreciate that acknowledgement. Second, I have to say it too, miss seeing y'all in person, Michael, and the rest of the PLMA family. I enjoyed the conferences, enjoyed getting face-to-face. I look forward to times when we can get together and spend some time face-to-face. So that being said, I am Justin Chamberlain. I am the manager of energy efficiency for our energy efficiency and demand response for CPS Energy. Our team focuses on a portion of our DSM portfolio that we call STEP, or the Save for Tomorrow plan. This plan is made up of really 4 different focuses. It's EE, energy efficiency, demand response, weatherization, and solar. Our team focuses on the first 2. This plan that we set out was to reduce 771 megawatts by the end of this year. And we're happy to say that we actually were able to hit it last year. So we were able to hit it a year early. We were actually able to go about 74 megawatts over the goal. And we're about $130 million under budget. And so really strong performance, and our DR work really helped us hit that goal early. Julie, you want to do an introduction?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, and I wanted to echo Justin and saying thank you again to the folks at PLMA for this award. It's a great honor, and I really appreciate it. I'm Julie Kane. I am the residential program manager here at CPS Energy. I have been in this role since 2017, and I can definitely say it gets better and better. No day and no summer really is ever the same. In my role, I oversee the day-to-day operations of a residential DSM portfolio, including both direct install and BYOT thermostat programs, which have a combined total of over 150,000 enrolled thermostat devices, as well as our behavioral demand response program having about 320,000 customers enrolled.
Great, thanks, Justin and Julie. So for those maybe not as familiar, would you just start by giving us a little overview of CPS Energy?
Yeah, so we're proudly located in San Antonio in the great state of Texas, and we are the largest municipally owned utility with over 860,000 electric customers and about 360,000 natural gas customers. We're a summer peaking utility, and our DR programs are focused on lowering the peaks in the summer.
Could you tell us a little more about your portfolio of demand response programs and how you're using them in the market?
Sure, I'll take that question. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a large part of our DSM portfolio, which we call STEP. We actually started installing thermostats the year actually before I started. And so 17 years now of installing thermostats in customers' homes. Julie mentioned our residential programs. We have about 150,000 residential thermostats, about 320,000 behavioral demand response customers, and about 755 commercial sites on the program. Put all that together, we have about 260 megawatts of DR. And typically during the summer, we call somewhere between 19 to 22 events. And really, we think of DR as an important resource, right? We're able to use it to help protect our customers against market prices and be able to lower our transmission costs. And so really, our focus is helping lower the costs for our customers. We actually called an event on Monday It was actually 105 here in San Antonio, and we were able to deploy all the resources to be able to help lower the peak. And it was actually an all-time July peak for ERCOT. And so important resource for us, something that we are constantly using to be able to help protect our customers.
Okay, thanks, Justin. And so with that framework in mind, can you give us an overview of why you engaged in this project?
Perfect. Yeah, so around the beginning of March last year, we received a notice, ERCOT released a press release just talking about high demand for the summer and also tight margins. And so what does that mean when we have tight margins? Well, the market cap is at $9,000 a megawatt hour. And so pre-summer, we're looking at potentially really, really high prices in the market. A lot of this was driven from the fact that there was a significant thermal generation retired in the market and replaced with some non-dispatchable type resources. And so our leadership team got together and said, okay, what can we do to help protect our customers, right? We know this could potentially be a tough summer. So what can we do to help protect our customers? And one of the ideas was that we were going to go out and buy more power to help protect ourselves. And our leadership came back and said, okay, well, before we do that, why don't we see what we can do for DR? And that was really an exciting moment for us when they said, okay, DR is a resource that we trust and that we think can help protect us. And so they came to us and said, hey, can you come up with a plan to be able to help us this summer?
And so, once you got that, that direction, did it come with a specific goal? What was the goal for the project? What meant success?
Yeah, good question. So they really came back to us and said, what do you think the potential is, right? And so we've been doing DR now for many years, pretty mature program. And so it was the idea of what can you do, right? Our account managers have done a good job of enrolling customers over the years. Our residential team had done a good job of different techniques to be able to get more thermostats on the program. And so it was like, what can we do in this short period of time? So we came back and said, we identify about 25 megawatts that we think that we can find in a short time period, right? And so a big part of it was in that short time period, you had to get everything ready and up and running and launched. And so that we couldn't try too many new type programs. We had to figure out, okay, how can we better deliver the programs that we have? And so we looked at, new outreach for our C&I, our commercial customers. How can we get our thermostat program enrollments up? And also, how can we improve our behavioral demand response program and get more customers added?
Great. So can you tell us a little more detail about kind of how you approached residential customers in this project?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I guess a couple of them on around the time we were tasked to increase our savings, we had already increased our BYOT enrollment rebate to $150, and that's up from our usual $85 for the enrollment. And this was due to our annual holiday rebate increase that we do for about 3 or so months to really drive enrollments. And so that was a quick hit for the summer 2019, was to keep our enrollments up, and we kept that increased rebate till about the end of the summer, and that really helped. Another project that we did was we developed a hybrid, so to speak, of our direct install program and our BYOT thermostat program, and we named it Mail Me a Thermostat, where we targeted residential customers who had higher energy usage and emailed them an offer for a free pre-enrolled thermostat if the customer would install it themselves. We also married the existing energy efficiency and demand response program into a bundling offer, specifically with our home energy assessment program and our low-income weatherization program. So we not only provided valuable energy efficiency savings, right, but we also started offering pre-installed thermostats to those customers who qualified. Moving on to behavioral demand response, we increased the enrollment from what started as a little over 100,000 customers to about 320,000 customers. And to go along with this, we expanded our partnerships and worked with the various internal teams, as well as, or I should say, to ensure that with the increased enrollment, we have increased coverage to ensure our customers receive the best possible service and nothing was looked over, and we still continue to do what we do best and keep our customer satisfaction and our customers' top priority. And also, real quickly, wanted to point out a few interesting points on this. With the increase, the amount of customer communication was huge in the BDR program. We were looking at around a total of about 6 million notifications throughout the summer to our customers. And so this included the pre and post event communications. The other highlight I wanted to mention is now combining the BDR enrollments with the customer enrollment, the thermostat program, we now effectively have over half of our customers on a DR program. So I thought that was really great and another great aspect and outcome of our increase in the residential side.
Those are impressive numbers. So I know as part of the strategy, you guys started a new public outreach campaign. Would you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we collaborated with our phenomenal marketing and corporate communication teams on an awareness campaign regarding the peak usage days and the awareness around that. So alongside BDR, our marketing team would work their magic and have these billboards displaying tomorrow is going to be a peak energy demand day, or today is going to be peak energy demand day. And we also partnered with local news stations for a segment called Energy Matters, where the same message as these billboards and the awareness efforts were told before the event as well as after. And those news channels would follow up the segment with a thank you to our customers, and also provided an estimated demand savings. So it really drove home that message of the importance of the peak energy demand days, right? And correlated when customers see those billboards and see those news segments, then it triggered our customers to know really what it means and to encourage them to get into the habit to make temporary changes in their homes to save energy. Justin, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, if I can add to that too, you bring up some good points. And one thing I want to add is that we really appreciate the effort that our our corporate communications team and our marketing team put into this effort. Before this, all of our messages for demand response have all been internally focused. And so if you were on the program, you heard about an event, but if you weren't on the program, you didn't receive any messages. And so this was our first time to really do external outreach on our demand response event. And really, we were trying to align it with something that's very commonly known here in San Antonio is our aquifer. Everyone knows what's going on with the aquifer. It's our water source. And so we know when it's high, when it's low. The news is constantly communicating it to us. And we think that the grid is the same similar resource, right? Be able to say, okay, well, the grid is constrained today. Can you cut back? And other days that it's not. And so we thought this was a great opportunity to be able to reach out to the public and try to speak to them in terms that they're already familiar with.
Great, thank you. So you told us a lot about what you've done with residential customers. What do y'all do on the commercial side?
Yeah, so there were two main focuses on the commercial side. One was just good old-fashioned outreach. We worked with our account managers, and they did a really good job last summer of getting out there and talking with the customers and explaining the need in the market. And I have to call out Bob Nelson. Bob Nelson did a really good job. He's one of our account managers. Did a good job of going out and talking to the commercial customers or the manufacturing customers and letting them know that we could use their help. And so we're able to get a lot of new enrollments with really large customers that way. And then also the continued support. We have Robert Olivares and Joe Jones who work with our school customers, working with them to make sure that they are still able to participate and able to help us during that summer. So added a lot of resources with both the schools and the manufacturing. But we also added something new that we called DR coaching. And the idea was that there are customers out there, both new customers and existing customers, that may need some support in participating, right? They may be leaving some KW on the table when they're trying to figure out how to participate. And so we provided this coaching where we go out to their site, walk them through how to participate in an event, identify key measures, provide them a report, and then also provide them support during the season to make sure that they're able to implement those measures. And so those two combined were a strong effort to help increase the number of commercial customers participating in the program.
So all these things you did, residential customer engagement, new public outreach campaign, a focus on commercial customers as well. All that work, you know, how did the summer turn out for you guys?
It was a good summer, right? So we put in this effort, and there was always the chance that cooler weather could have come in, you know, that we weren't going to need these resources for it. And it actually ended up being a very exciting summer. We actually ended up calling 26 event days, which was a lot of event days for a typical summer. We were able to hit all of our peaks for the summer, and we actually were able to dispatch during 2 energy emergency event days. And so, quick side story, we actually hit the $9,000 prices. I was actually in a PLMA meeting, and we just sat down and we were asked to set our phones aside and focus on the meeting. And as soon as they said that, ping, our phone started going off, and we started getting a lot of alerts saying, hey, things are happening in the market. And so we were able to pull aside, quickly dispatch our resources, get our customers reacting, and be able to use these to be able to protect our customers against those prices. We had an overall strong performance. We actually reduced about 269 megawatts last summer, and so very strong response from our customers, and we were able internally to reach all of our operational goals.
So I know you mentioned earlier, 25 megawatts sort of as the incremental goal for this project. How did you end up doing on that front?
Yeah, 25 megawatts. You know, we set that goal, and I'm proud to say that we did exceed that goal. And so we actually ended up with 44 additional megawatts for the program. And so, like I mentioned earlier, a number of those were from our schools and from our manufacturing customers. We actually totaled 19 megawatts, additional megawatts from those customers. Julie, you want to talk about the behavioral and the thermostat?
Yeah, of course. And so the behavioral side of it, we had about 17 megawatts of savings. And then on the thermostats, we had an additional 8 megawatt savings. So it was a great summer.
Great. And so, you know, having gone through this, you know, what do you think are the biggest lessons that you guys have learned from the project?
I think the first one would be that DR is a real resource, right? So we found ourselves, we've been using it for years to help against the peaks, to help lower costs for customers. But really last summer was a trying time. We had these emergencies, and we were able to rely on these DR resources to be able to dispatch quickly and be able to help protect our customers against those high prices. And so really a chance to use them in some serious action. And they were able to deliver, you know, we were able to count our customers to be able to deliver when we needed them. And so it really reinforced the value of our DR program. Second part too is it shows that there's rooms to grow, right? We have a mature program. It's been around for a while. We've actually tried a number of different programs through the years to engage customers and get them on the program. But there's still always room to grow. And some of that means we have to step back and say, okay, well, is there a different approach? We've done direct install for years. We had focused on BYO for a little while. But this Melmia thermostat was a great opportunity for us to be able to mesh those together. We think it was a good way to get to customers who typically may not have gone out and bought their own thermostat and put them in. And so a good opportunity to try new approaches to enroll customers. Julie, you have something you want to add?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with your response, Justin, in saying that there's always room to grow, even when you think that there's nothing more that can be done. I know one thing that came out of this was something that was not expected or really aimed for, but it was a great, it was a good lesson and good thing to happen was the power of our customers' influence on each other and the power of friendly competition. And I'm kind of speaking more on behalf of the BDR program and the event notifications, because with those coupled with the great success of our increased awareness campaign and using those billboards and news outlets, we saw a huge presence on social media with our BDR customers posting their results and starting a great dialogue with other people online and really helping us reiterate and driving home that message of the importance of the peak energy demand days and what it means and ways they can help save energy. And then that really helped us. And it was a great outcome of these increases and these pushes out to our customers. So that was really awesome.
I know this is a question that a lot of us have because we're all dealing with it and trying to figure out how it changes the way we do things. But what impacts have you guys seen from COVID so far this DR season? Guessing you've called a few events by now. Have you seen big impacts?
That's a good question. I have to say it's still kind of early in the season to be able to say what is COVID and what's not. The things that we are seeing in the market is the idea that our peaks are getting flatter and a longer period. And so normally, I think about 91% of the ERCOT peaks are between 4 to 5 or 4:15 to 5:15, and we're starting to see peaks that are happening, closer to the 3 o'clock hour, and then the next day closer to the 6 o'clock hour. And so what we're seeing is a longer flat peak, whether that's COVID, whether that's other people participating in demand response, or whether it's just weather. Right? We have a lot of pop-up showers that come across the Texas coast that can drive down load. We still have a lot to learn. What we are doing, though, is we are examining how we're dispatching our programs and to be able to make sure we're focusing on both those peaks, but also still taking into consideration our customer comfort while dispatching those events. And so another thing I would add to that too is that our wonderful marketing team, they actually expanded our outreach this year to all new stations. And so now we're messaging all stations, both English and Spanish, to let them know about the events, right? Reiterating that, hey, we need your help this summer in these events. Try and encourage customers to stick with us, to not opt out of the events. In fact, I was actually watching the Today Show on Monday, and they were doing the weather update, and alert for a peak day came up, and I was able to see it. Really being able to hit a wider audience and letting them know and try to encourage more of our customers to get involved. Julie, you want to add something to that too?
Yeah, no, Justin, you covered pretty much the majority of the topics. I guess really what's left is the thermostat program, and really, I have to agree, it is early in the season to kind of determine, but I am seeing kind of a wider variance of participation with more people home during these demand response events. So while I'm not seeing a year-to-year variability just yet in program opt-outs or all of that, I am noticing with more people home, set points are different. And so I'm eager to look back at this summer and compare the number of the event opt-outs and what points of the event they opted out, right? So, and compare those to previous years. And so we're continuing to prioritize their comfort, their customers' comfort too, while we're calling these events and reiterating what Justin was saying, that the variability when these peaks happen may or may not shift later. So with that possibility, we do have to get a little more creative and think outside the box when dispatching these events, and keeping the peak in mind and also our customers' comfortability in mind as well.
So, obviously you guys had a lot of success with this, and I think it's, likely something you want to keep going. So how does that work? How do you keep growing on this success? Is it focusing on what you've done and developing those ideas out more and kind of getting more market penetration, or are there new big ideas kind of to add to this portfolio? What's next?
Yeah. Hey, Michael, that's a good question. I'm going to answer with two parts. One, for this project, right, it was really focused on scaling up our current programs, making sure, right, that we're really trying to get our thermostat programs, more customers in there with our commercial programs, get more commercial customers and help them have a more consistent performance. And so this project was focused more on what we can do to scale programs. Two things I'll add is we're constantly looking at new programs, right? We have to examine the opportunities that our customers have to participate and the needs of the market, and identify the gaps in between. And so if we see a gap in between and we see it as an opportunity to be able to create a new program or bring something new into portfolio, we are always interested in doing that. The second part to that too is that we have reached our goal for our STEP program, and we are now relooking at our portfolio. We're exploring something that we call Flex Step, which is going to combine our our vision of a flexible path, looking at new types of generation to be able to support our company. And so we think that there's a chance to be able to explore new programs to be able to help improve our demand response program.
Right, that's definitely a great point, Justin, and bringing up that flex step and the flexibility. And that also helps with this question too, right, is that we have to just continue to be flexible, whether that be adding new programs or, changing up our existing programs or expanding our existing programs. And it's just having that flexibility and that communication with everybody in the collaboration is really going to be key to all of this.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So we have a submitted question here. I think I'm going to ask because it kind of plays on the great answer you guys had around COVID impacts. But the question here is are there any changes to how residential DR works with so many people working from home? Are you asking them to do anything different? Are you sort of changing the assumptions you use around them? Have you found yourselves having to adjust, or are you kind of running a traditional program model and you think that will work for folks whether they're home or at work?
I'll take that. Let me yeah, that's a good question. Let me add this too, is we're actually doing a panel at the next conference on COVID and the impacts of the DR program. So expect for us to come back with more details on that. But from the spot we sit in now, I would say what we have to do is balance that customer comfort. And so the idea is that if these peaks push out later, it's trying to balance out keeping customers' air conditioners cycling later into the evening, right? We have to balance being able to do that. And so maybe looking at our programs as hedging and calling events earlier for resi and commercials later, we're having to adjust the way that we're calling them just to be able to make sure that, hey, we're hitting our peaks, we're meeting our operational goals, but also keeping that customer comfort in mind. That's the most important thing to us, is making sure our customers are happy with the program, that they're staying on and continue to participate with us year after year.
Great. So we have just a couple minutes left before we're at time, and I guess I just wanted to give you both a moment are there any kind of closing remarks or final thoughts you'd like to share with everyone?
Sure. I'll go ahead and say, again, as I said earlier at the beginning, thank y'all for this recognition. We have a strong team here at CPS Energy who really comes together when we need them. Our key accounts team, our CorpCom team, really appreciate their support and being able to deliver on these goals. I know every year there's something new that's coming up, especially when it comes to the market. And I just reiterate the importance of strong partnerships among the company, being able to reach these goals. And lastly, we can't do this without our customers. We're sending them these messages, they're responding, and we really appreciate their ability to respond and stick with us through 2 tough summers.
Great. Well, with that, Justin, Julie, just want to say a big thank you from all of us for taking the time to join us today and talk a little bit about your award-winning project. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And with that, I'll pass it back to Judy to wrap things up.
Thank you very much, everybody. You have been listening to a PLMA Load Management Dialogue. To learn more about upcoming dialogues and to see an archive of our past recordings, please visit us at peakload.org, or you can go to your favorite podcast platform. This concludes this edition.